Salutations, BioShock fans, and welcome to an informal guide to the Worlds of Hurt Challenge Room. My name is Ronan, and I'm here to help you earn every achievement and trophy available, while also giving you various tips and tricks to ease some of that pain you'll be facing. First things first though, a quick breakdown on this challenge room and the details this guide will provide. The Worlds of Hurt revolves around a central hub, a massive circular room with 8 doors that encompass the outer rim, and at its center, a glass chamber with a little sister trapped inside. Our objective is to rescue this little sister, but in order to do that, we must go through every one of these 8 doors and complete the rooms of doom inside, each one containing their own theme and unique terror inside. After clearing one of these rooms, you will be rewarded with resources and teleported back to the central hub, at which point one of 8 locks will disengage. You'll then be free to purchase supplies and abilities to help in taking on a new room of doom, where the process will then repeat. If you die, it's game over. You will not respawn at a Vita chamber. Instead, you will have to restart from the beginning or reload a previous save. Luckily for us, the game will autosave after completing each room of doom. Once all 8 rooms are cleared, and only then, will we be able to rescue the little sister and complete the challenge room. Apart from the first 2 rooms, there is no particular order in which they can be cleared. However, some rooms are far more difficult than others. Each room also contains a hidden collectible rose and a power to the people machine. Now, there are 4 achievements available to earn in the Worlds of Hurt challenge room. They are the Rescuer, which can be earned by simply completing the challenge room. The Collector, which is awarded by completing the challenge room after finding and collecting all 8 of the hidden roses. The Expert, a time-based achievement for completing the challenge room in under 15 minutes while on medium difficulty or higher. And the Tough Guy achievement, which is to complete the challenge room on medium difficulty or higher using only the wrench, tonics, plasmids, and research camera. In this guide, I will be going through all 8 rooms one by one, in the order I believe to be the easiest. While doing so, I will give you personal recommendations and advice I find to be the most useful, as well as the locations to the hidden roses and power to the people machines. Now, it is possible to get all 4 of these achievements in a single run. However, I would advise against this, mostly because of how the Expert and Tough Guy achievements stack. Doing both at the same time will make the challenge a lot harder than it needs to be. I recommend splitting them up between 2 different playthroughs, and as such, I will structure my guide accordingly. Unless of course you're looking for a real challenge, or aren't above using exploits. Speaking of exploits, there are 3 available for us to use, those being the Easy Mode exploit, the Quick Fire Rate exploit, and the Research Experience Reset exploit. God, that's a mouthful. Now, for the longest time I've been debating on whether or not to include these types of things in my guides. On the one hand, exploits can be fun, and do make the game easier in some cases. So who am I to deny you that information? On the other hand, I feel they can also rob the validity of some achievements. There's also the chance the developers might patch them out, rendering their inclusion pointless. So here's my conundrum. Is it better to include exploits, or just do things legitimately? And to that I say, is it too much to ask for both?
Both is good.
With that in mind, I will include these exploits and show you how to do them in my guides, leaving the choice to use them in your hands. But don't fret, I will still make it my priority to give you plenty of tips on how to earn everything legitimately as well. If you're after a specific room or collectible rose, here's a list of timestamps for everything we'll cover throughout the guide. I will also include a chapter list in the description down below. With all that out of the way, let's get to it. Before even starting the first room, we already have our first potential exploit, the Easy Mode exploit. As the name implies, it allows us to earn the Expert and Tough Guy achievements while playing on Easy. This exploit only works on the remastered version of the game. To do it is simple. Just start the challenge room on medium or higher difficulty, then switch it to Easy once it's loaded up. And that's it. You're free to explore the Worlds of Hurt while on Easy Street. But if you're still looking for someone to show you the ropes, feel free to stick around. Now in the beginning, only one of these rooms will be open to us, and it holds a single enemy, a thuggish Splicer. This is by far the easiest of the rooms, and as such, I think I should take this opportunity to go through the various parts that could aid you in future rooms to come. Here's what to expect. While heading in, you'll see 3 items to pick up: a wrench, a pistol, and a round of ammo. Once inside the room itself, we'll be able to look down the glass ceiling and see what's inside. Standing in the far right corner, attacking the little sister vent, is our single Splicer. We will also find several dead bodies lying around the room. Searching them will award the player a mix of items, usually a minimum of $8 cash, a consumable, and a material for inventing ammo. If you're not pressed for time, searching these throughout the Worlds of Hurt can help you in the long run, especially if you're planning on inventing any special ammo. Just by the entrance, we will also find a destroyed first aid station with 2 first aid kits beneath it. Now, most of the rooms have one of these stations, but this is the only one you'll find that's already busted. From here on out, you'll have to pay out of pocket for your medical needs, either by using the various stations and vending machines, or scrounging for supplies off the dead bodies of others. But if you're tired of paying out the nose for your healthcare, then no worries, because I have just the solution for you. You can actually destroy any of these first aid stations yourself, which will drop anywhere from 1 to 3 kits. The lengths we have to go to in order to get affordable healthcare. Be sure to use this method, especially if you're low on resources or cash. It could very well save your life. And finally, we have the Collectible Rose. Upon entering the room, head to the 2 control consoles closest to your right. Sitting between them on the floor is our first rose. This just leaves us with the thuggish Splicer. If you're going for the tough guy achievement, then just pick up and use the wrench. It will take a few hits to kill him, giving him plenty of time to dodge. Just stay on him and keep swinging that wrench. Eventually, he'll go down. If you're going for the expert achievement, then pick up the ammo, pistol, and wrench, and use whatever weapon you feel gets the job done the quickest. Once the Splicer is dealt with, the room will be completed, at which point the little sister hiding in the vent will offer you a gift. Accepting it will autosave your game, unlock all your other weapons, and reward you with $120 cash and 80 Atom, after which a teleporter will activate on your left and the power to the people machine on your right. This is the only machine that requires you to clear a room in order to use. The other 7 can be used as soon as you come across them. A few quick notes in regards to these machines. Be very mindful what weapon you choose to upgrade. Not all of them are created equal. From my experience, the machine gun, shotgun, crossbow, and grenade launcher are the best choices, with my personal recommendation going to the crossbow. Doubly so if you're using the quickfire exploit. And in case you're curious, upgrading a weapon does not affect the tough guy achievement. One thing to keep in mind if you're playing the remastered version of the game, these machines do count towards the weapon-themed achievements in the main game, allowing you to earn any and all of the achievements that involve upgrading your weapons. Fully upgrade your pistol? Boom, achievement. Fully upgrade 4 weapons? Boom, achievement. In fact, it's possible to use multiple saves to fully upgrade all the weapons between them and earn the Weapon Specialist achievement. Or even use the power to the people machines to substitute any of the ones you might have missed in the main game. After going through the teleporter, you will now have resources to use at the various vending machines located in the central hub. From left to right, we have the U-Invent machine, the Circus of Value, El Amo Bandito, the Gatherer's Garden, and the Gene Bank. There will also be a first aid station to either side. How you use and what you buy from these is mostly up to personal preference. I do plan on giving you recommendations on what to prioritize for each room, depending on what achievement you're going for, so hold off on using any of them just yet. But I do have a few tips to help you use them to their fullest later on in the challenge room. Tip number 1. Using any of the machines that have an in-game menu will pause your timer, meaning you can take as much time as you need shopping, hacking, or customizing your loadout. Tip number 2. Although pretty difficult, the Circus of Value, El Amo Bandito, and U-Invent can be hacked to reduce their costs. To make hacking them easier, just purchase the Speedy Hacker 2 tonic from the Gatherer's Garden. Tip number 3. Failing a hack will deplete your health, but it will never kill you outright. It also won't trigger any alarms, meaning you can reattempt hacking them with no real limit. Tip number 4. If you have enough spare change, you might be able to just buy out the machines when hacking them. This buyout price is determined by how difficult the machine is to hack. So buying and equipping any of the engineering tonics will reduce the difficulty and, in turn, the buyout price. If you don't see a buyout option, it means you don't have enough money to do so. Tip number 5. You can purchase the Vending Expert 2 from the Gatherer's Garden to further reduce prices for the Circus of Value and El Amo Bandito. Tip number 6. The Clever Inventor can also be purchased from the Gatherer's Garden to reduce the number of required components needed when using the U-Invent. And tip number 7. Like the other first aid stations, the 2 in the central hub can be destroyed to drop a random number of kits to pick up. Make sure to do this if you find yourself out of resources. And that's about all the info I have, so do with it what you will. Anyways, where were we? Ah yes, the next Room of Doom. A single Big Daddy. But before we go in, we need to stock up. For those after the Tough Guy achievement, you're going to be on a tight budget. The main things you're going to need are film from the Circus of Value, and the Photographer's Eye, Damage Research, and Wrench Jockey from the Gatherer's Garden. Do not replace your currently equipped Photographer's Eye 2, and do not spend the remaining atom on anything else. Instead, save it for later. For those after the Expert achievement, then your options are very much tied to whatever weapon you decided to prioritize. If you pick the machine gun, then you're going to want to focus on purchasing the hacking theme tonics, gathering all the materials you can, and hacking the vending machines so you can get the armor-piercing rounds, all of which can be done before entering the room with the single Big Daddy. For those that pick the shotgun, crossbow, or grenade launcher, you should be able to buy whatever ammo you need from the Circus of Value or El Ammo Bandito. Ideally the electric buck, incendiary bolt, and frag grenades respectively. My personal recommendation goes to the crossbow. With both upgrades, you'll be able to do more damage with each shot, as well as recollect that ammo to reuse, reducing the need to buy more. It's one of the most powerful and versatile of the weapons, and it's great at both short and long range. The only drawback is, well, just that, how long it takes for you to draw back the bolts it shoots, creating a very slow fire rate. However, this can be remedied by the quickfire exploit. To perform, all you need is a plasmid in one hand and a weapon in the other. After shooting your weapon, just switch to your plasmid, then quickly switch back. This will skip the animation frames of certain weapons, allowing you to rapidly fire your entire clip. This is best for slower weapons like the crossbow or grenade launcher, as well as the shotgun, provided it doesn't already have the fire rate upgrade. Unfortunately, you won't be able to make use of this exploit at the current moment, unless you spend your atom on one of the plasmids. But I strongly advise waiting for now. There's far better tonics and plasmids you should save up for, like Electro Bolt and Telekinesis. But if you're really itching to test out that trigger finger, I think Insect Swarm will be your best choice if you want to use the plasmid, or Security Bullseye if you want a quick and cheap access to the quickfire exploit. Keep in mind this isn't at all necessary, and maybe even a bit overkill. Now, much like the first, our second room is pretty straightforward. Apart from the Power to the People machine and Collectible Rose, we'll also find 3 dead bodies, a steamer trunk, an electrified pool of water, and a bouncer class Big Daddy. The Collectible Rose can be found shortly after entering the room and dropping down. It's hiding in the gap created by the collapsed floor panel just left of the entrance. It's very hard to see and will require you to crouch in order to pick up. Not far from here, next to the nearby window, you can find the steamer trunk. As for the dead bodies, one can be found atop the glass ceiling before entering, another near the rubble in the electrified pool, and the last one by the Power to the People machine. This just leaves us with taking down the Big Daddy, but be warned, he's single and ready to mingle. Sorry, did I say mingle? I meant mangle. For those going for the Tough Guy achievement, then you're going to want to do your research before even attempting to take this guy out. If you're playing the original copy of the game, you should be able to take a few pictures from afar and acquire the first damage boost and Wrench Jockey 2 with no issue, so long as the pictures are center frame. But if you're playing the remastered version, you're going to need to slow things down, methodically waiting for the pictures to develop. Taking pictures too fast or sporadically might rob you of potential XP. To guarantee you don't miss out, I suggest you save beforehand and either keep trying until you get Wrench Jockey 2 or utilize the Experience Reset exploit. Now, normally you can only take so many photos of enemies before the research experience runs out, but with this exploit you'll be free to take as many pictures as you want. To perform, repeatedly take pictures from atop the glass ceiling until the XP has run dry, at which point go back to the central hub and then return to the room you were just in. And that's it. You'll be able to take several more photos for more XP. You can repeat this process as many times as you want. Now, for future reference to all you shutterbugs out there, it's best you take pictures of any Big Daddies you come across. You're going to be seeing them a lot, and it's imperative you get as many buffs against them to help you get the Tough Guy achievement. Anyways, once you've built up the courage and experience, give that daddy a smack on the behind. Now that you have his attention, he's going to want to chase you. Always leave them wanting more, I say. Our next move will be to invite him to the nearby pool, where we'll really show him our stuff. You can either have him meet you there, or lure him into diving in head first. Once in the water, put this thirsty boy out of his misery. If you're aiming for the Expert achievement and aren't interested in how to bag yourself one the old-fashioned way, then simply use whatever weapon you decided to prioritize. But don't forget to upgrade it further by using the Power to the People machine first. Having the right ammo and potentially a fully upgraded weapon should be enough to take down this Big Daddy with ease. But if you need the extra help, just use the electric pool to give you a tactical advantage. A quick reminder that Big Daddies are weak to electricity, armor piercing, and explosives. So the shotgun, crossbow, grenade launcher, and machine gun are the most effective. With the room cleared, we can now collect our reward of $240 cash and 80 atom, then use the teleporter to return to the central hub. It should come as no surprise that in this room we'll find spider splicers. There are 5 of them scuttering around inside and they can be very aggressive. Regardless of achievement or playstyle, I recommend using your camera to research them before jumping down. There should be enough splicers to easily acquire 2 levels. The first research level will allow you to use their hearts as first aid kits. Not entirely sure how it does that, but you know what they say, the key to a long life is having a healthy heart. For dinner. And the second research level will give you a damage boost against them. Spider splicers are weak to anti-personal ammo and susceptible to electricity, so I highly suggest having the electric bolt plasmid before coming down here. The electric buck is an option too, but it isn't nearly as effective. Now the room itself is designed not too unlike a spider's web, with several interconnected paths and dead ends. Apart from the power to the people machine and collectible rose, there isn't really much else. The only noteworthy things are a couple of Eve hypos found in and around the open freezers just right of the entrance, as well as the first aid station a little further down. But collecting these will cost more time and effort than they're worth. For now, I only want you to worry about the leftmost side upon entering, specifically the security station, the collapsed wall behind it, and the flooded circle in the center of the room. This will be our battleground for most of the stage. But before we get into that, I want to show you this very useful shortcut. It's actually possible to jump onto this collapsed wall and use it to quickly gain access to the other side of the room. Normally you would have to make your way to this area by navigating the various pathways, but with this, we'll be able to skip all of that. On the other side, we will find the power to the people machine, and just to the left of it, under a nearby bench, is our third collectible rose. From this point, you will just need to follow the leftmost path to find the little sister vent, which only leaves the matter of exterminating the spiders in this room. As mentioned before, it's best to have the electrobolt in hand and research the spider splicers first. Then, immediately upon dropping down, head left to the spot between the security station and the staircase leading to the flooded room in the center. You'll quickly be greeted by the first spider splicer crawling around on the ceiling, followed swiftly by 3 of her sisters. Here's where the electrobolt comes into play. Giving these spiders a good zap will cause them to fall to the ground stunned, allowing you to dispose of them in whatever manner you please. But ideally you're going to want to zap them while they're crawling over the flooded room at the center. Doing so will cause these spider women to die as soon as they make contact with the watery ground. For those going for the tough guy achievement, just stick with the electrobolt and wrench. Provided you research them, the spider splicers should go down in a hit or 2. Just be careful not to get outnumbered. If not taken down as they appear, then you might quickly become overwhelmed. If this happens, pull back and break line of sight. Then take them out one by one using the 1-2 punch. For those going for the expert achievement, definitely try to master the bug zapping method I brought up. This will save so much time and ammo. But if you're gung-ho about using those guns, then the machine gun with anti-personal ammo and the crossbow with incendiary bolts are what I recommend. The best part about incendiary bolts is that they still do splash damage even if you don't hit your target directly. After that, the shotgun is probably your next best weapon. However, a quick note about the electric buck. This ammo can be used to the same effect as the electro bolt, but it does significantly less damage. There also appears to be diminishing returns when repeatedly shooting splicers that are already stunned. And finally, the grenade launcher with frags works too, but accuracy is key for it to be effective. You could also use proximity mines and heat-seeking rockets, but I would recommend saving that ammo for tougher enemies. After killing those 4 spiders, use that shortcut I mentioned earlier to reach the far left side of the room. Here we'll find our final spider splicer, or more accurately, she'll find you. Dispatch her in the manner that best suits your needs, then head to the little sister vent to claim your reward and use the teleporter. Next up, we have the security turret maze. In terms of prep work for this room, you're going to want the electrobolt, film, and plenty of Eve hypos and first aid kits just in case. This goes for both experts and tough guys. Inside this room are going to be 11 turrets, 3 lead head splicers, and a bouncer. Now, don't be fooled by the name. This room is far more turret than it is maze. Unless it's referring to you trying to find a path where you don't get shot up by a turret, then maybe it's an accurate name. But that's where our plan comes into play. First, use the camera from above to research the turrets until we get the ability to auto-hack them. Then jump down and use the electrobolt to short-circuit any of the turrets. All we have to do now is walk up and auto-hack them. And presto, we have 1 less enemy to worry about and 1 more ally to cover our back. But be warned, if a stun turret takes any damage before you can hack it, including from other turrets, then the stun will wear off. It's worth noting that hacking security turrets and bots does not affect the tough guy achievement. Now it's only a matter of doing this to all the other turrets. I recommend doing this as soon as you come across one. I wouldn't even worry about the leadhead splicers roaming around. Our new friends will take care of them. Like I said before, there are 11 turrets to be found, 4 of them rocket launchers, 4 of them machine gun turrets, and the last 3 being flamethrowers. The rocket launchers and machine gun turrets are pretty out in the open, with one usually waiting for you in and around every corner. It's the flamethrowers that you need to keep an eye out for. You can walk right by one and never know. They can be found wedged in between the walls at almost every major junction of the room. Another well-hidden foe is our 4th rose. To find it, take a right from the beginning of the maze and go over to these pistons. With the right angle, you might be able to see it sitting behind all the machinery. It can be a little hard to reach, but I found the best way is to jump on one of these front corner pipes. It's just low enough for us to barely stick the landing. All you have to do now is pick up the rose. Just don't tell OSHA what we had to do to get it. And finally, just to the right from here is the power to the people machine. Besides that, there's not much else to this room other than the occasional consumable lying on the ground, which just leaves the Big Daddy. For everyone trying to get the Tough Guy achievement, I recommend hacking most, if not all the turrets beforehand, and getting as much research on the bouncer. Once all the other enemies have been taken care of, zap the bouncer with your Electrobolt and back away. Your turrets will take care of the rest. Alternatively, you can also help out by getting a few whacks in yourself, but be very careful of friendly fire from the turrets, especially the splash damage from the rocket launchers. If by chance the bouncer takes out all the nearby turrets, lead him to another section of the maze where more turrets can help finish the job. For the people trying to get the expert achievement, I recommend doing the same, using your camera and Electrobolt so you can hack all the turrets. This takes the least amount of time and resources, although you can use your weapons against them if you want. When it comes to the Big Daddy, using the crossbow, shotgun, grenade launcher, or machine gun with armored piercing rounds are the best options. It wouldn't hurt to research the bouncer too, but it's completely optional. With both your weapons and turrets, you should have very few problems taking him out. Once the big guy goes down, collect your rewards and head back to the hub. The things you're going to need for the security bot room will change depending on which achievement you're trying to get. If you're a tough guy, you're going to want the Electrobolt plasmid, some film to research the security bots, a decent amount of research obtained on the bouncer, and the Incinerate plasmid if you're wanting to collect the collectible rose inside. If you're an expert, you should be fine so long as you have a reliable weapon and ammo, with either the Incinerate plasmid or some fire-based ammo like the Incendiary Bolt, Napalm, or Exploding Buck if you want access to the rose. In here we'll find a frozen room with what appears to be only 2 enemies, a bouncer and an electrified thuggish splicer. But don't be fooled. Once you drop down, an alarm will be triggered and 2 security bots will be in hot pursuit. Taking these down will only cause another one to take its place, meaning to stop them permanently, we will have to take them down at the source, the electrified Splicer. Once he's dealt with, the alarms and turrets will be shut down. But that is easier said than done, because unlike the security turret room, this level is genuinely a maze. Fortunately, I have a few tips to help you navigate it. To find the thuggish Splicer, after dropping down, head through the left doorway and continue to follow the leftmost path forward. Eventually, you'll run into the room with the Big Daddy. While in this room, take the doorway on your right and follow the natural path forward. 2 rooms down, you will stumble upon the place with the thuggish Splicer, where both your goal and his life will end. With the security bots no longer an issue, we can now collect the rose. Sitting in the corner of this room, opposite of the doorway, you'll see an ice mound. Use your Incinerate plasmid or any fire-based ammo like the Incendiary Bolt, Explosive Buck, or Napalm to melt the ice, revealing our 5th rose. Continuing our little scavenger hunt, if we were to retrace our steps to the room just before we found the Big Daddy, we would find the power to the people machine, sitting against the outer wall. There should also be a security bot in the center of this room next to some boxes. This security bot isn't one of the ones that was pursuing us, but rather an extra. Exploring the entire room of doom will reveal the locations of the 2 other bots that were chasing you. This location will change depending on where they were when you killed the thuggish Splicer. There are also plenty of frozen treats hiding in this area. Some are just lying around on the ground or on top of the control consoles. Others require us to melt the various mounds of ice. Now most of them are just consumables or you invent materials like distilled water. But if cold hard cash is more your thing, then search the square cubbyhole to the right of the power to the people machine. You can also find another stack of cash next to the first aid station in the room just before you found the thuggish Splicer. Once you're done collecting things, it's now time to take down the Big Daddy. For the tough guys, you're definitely going to want to research the bouncer before dropping down into the room itself. After which, wait by the entrance for the security bots to approach you and begin taking as many research photos you can until you unlock the auto hack perk. This will take a little bit. If you're struggling to manage them, just stun them with the Electrobolt. If one is no longer rewarding you experience, just destroy it and a new one will take its place. Once the auto hack perk is obtained, proceed to zap and hack your own security bots, then take out the thuggish Splicer. Keep in mind you can only have 2 bots on your side at a time. With the alarms down, head over to the Big Daddy and use a mixture of your Electrobolt and Wrench to take him out. Remember, any stuns you inflict on the Big Daddy will end the moment it takes any damage, including from the security bots. Alternatively, you could skip the security bot step and try to solo this fight, but it will be a lot harder, so be sure to stock up on Eve hypos and first aid kits. Pro tip, be sure to keep an eye out on your Eve meter. At some point you will run out after zapping the bouncer. When you see this, stop what you're doing. Do not hit the Big Daddy with your wrench just yet. Instead, while the bouncer is sitting there stunned, take this opportunity to use an Eve hypo, then go back to attacking. For the expert seekers, your weapons should be all you need. This room effectively just becomes an icier, more tedious version of the second Room of Doom. The crossbow, shotgun, grenade launcher are great, as is the machine gun using armor-piercing rounds. You could also hack the security bots, but this is hardly worth the time and effort. We got places to be, so make things quick and ice this fool already. With the bouncer now lying cold on the floor, collect your reward, and head back to the central hub. Probably the most time-consuming of all the rooms, we have the one filled with Houdini Splicers. In here we'll find a winding staircase leading down several floors, with a bunch of makeshift platforms jutting out along the way. Teleporting between these platforms will be 9 Houdini Splicers. Now, it is possible to fight these Splicers while making your way down, but I'd advise you instead to quickly head down the stairs to the bottom floor. Don't worry about the Houdinis, they'll meet you there. Just be sure to take a quick snapshot of one of them before you do to increase your damage against them. While on the way down, let's go over the location of the Collectible Rose. It can be found on one of these makeshift platforms. To find this platform, make your way down past the first 2 sets of stairs, and continue along the path until you reach the 3rd set. You'll know you're in the right spot when you're on equal ground with the first of these dome windows. Just before the 3rd set of stairs, you'll see that the railing is gone, and upon further inspection, just on the other side beneath the stairs, is the platform whereafter. You can probably guess what I'm going to tell you to do next, right? For anyone that said, jump across, are you out of your mind? No, I'm here to give you tips on how to stay alive, not give you advice on how to jump off a cliff. No, I was going to tell you to save. Save your game. Save like you've never saved before. Save like your life depended on it, because it kinda does. So go on, take your time, I can wait. Did you save your game? Okay, now I'm gonna give you advice on how to jump off a cliff, or rather, how to run off one. It is possible to jump over this platform, but the uneven floor and sketchy collision could rob you of your momentum. Instead, I recommend putting your back to the wall, then running full speed towards the middle of the broken rails in front of you. This should give you a straight shot to falling on the platform with minimal damage. Assuming you didn't touch any of the rails, of course. Hiding behind this wood panel near the wall is our 6th rose. To get down from here safely, just jump over one of the shorter sets of rails to the pathway down below. When you reach the bottom floor, be sure to stay near the base of the stairs. This is key to dealing with the Houdini Splicers. They like to spawn in locations that provide the most tactical advantage. Given the opportunity, they will often pick higher areas or places with clear line of sight to you, the player. But with us positioned at the base of the stairs, the Houdinis will prioritize areas that are most beneficial for us, often teleporting in front of us or on the nearby staircase. For the toughies only using the wrench, there are 2 methods for you to use. Either use your Electrobolt to stun the Houdini Splicers and then hit them with your wrench, or use the Telekinesis Plasmid to pick up any large object and throw them at the Houdinis. Remember, dead bodies work best, and are a resource you'll only gain more of with every Splicer you kill. They also make great human shields against enemy fire. This tip is also useful for any expert seekers too, but you also have several other options to use as well if you prefer. The crossbow and Electrobolt make a mean combo for those who can't be bothered to chase your enemy. You could also place proximity mines in locations most frequented by the Houdinis, and sabotage their disappearing act. You could also use frag grenades to hit enemies from a distance. The machine gun with anti-personnel ammo is also a decent choice, if used with the Electrobolt or even insect swarm, but does require more ammo and resources to make it through. Once all 9 Houdinis have been retired from their career in magic, feel free to collect an upgrade from the Power to the People machine that's under the stairs. Then, grab the reward from the little sister and head back to the hub. Very similar to the security turret maze, this room will have 2 distinct pathways that will loop back into each other. And as the name infers, we'll come across all kinds of different enemies. By my count, there are 10 enemies inside. 2 Houdini Splicers, 2 Nitros, 2 Leadheads, 2 Thugs, a Spider Splicer, and you guessed it, a Bouncer class Big Daddy. Keep in mind several of these enemies will be significantly more resistant to damage than their normal counterparts. But with the right weapons and plasmids, this room can be cleared fairly easily, with a high recommendation towards the telekinesis plasmid. I'm unclear the exact reasons behind it, but using telekinesis to throw dead bodies at other enemies seems to bypass this damage resistance, with only the Big Daddies being exempt. Most of the enemies will go down in a hit or two using this method, and if you want to get your hands on one early, there's a couple of dead bodies that can be found atop the glass ceiling. Once inside the room, choose the path on the left and follow it through, taking down the various splicers along the way. There are 6 splicers down this path, almost behind every corner you come across actually. In order, you'll find a Thuggish Splicer, a Spider Splicer clinging to the ceiling, followed by a Leadhead and an Electrified Thug near the Power to the People machine, then a Nitro Splicer further up, and last a Houdini on the way out. You will also find plenty of explosive barrels to use as well, just make sure you're the one using them and you're doing so from a safe distance. You should now be in the main section of this room, with a Bouncer and second Leadhead Splicer to your left, while a makeshift fort with the second Nitro and Houdini Splicers will be to your right. Take the right path and deal with the 2 nearby Splicers. If you need the help, there will be even more explosive barrels. And in case you're interested, in the center of this fort, you can find a stun turret that can be hacked. There is also a first aid station tucked away in the blind corner near where we find the second Houdini. Continuing to the other side of the room, just left of the Big Daddy, we'll see a souped up Leadhead Splicer pacing back and forth in a little alcove. Near the back wall of this area, we will find our 7th Rose, hiding just behind this sack barricade, which just leaves us dealing with the Big Daddy. For the tough guys, your best options for dealing with the Splicers are the Electrobolt, Wrench, and Telekinesis Plasmid. Use a mix of these to deal with the various enemies, either by using the 1-2 punch or throwing the various objects and dead bodies using Telekinesis. There's also several explosive barrels you can use against quite a number of your enemies. Once all the Splicers have been dealt with, hack the down turret and use the Electrobolt and Wrench to whittle down the Bouncer's health. If you have any explosive barrels and aren't pressed for time, then you can take advantage of my favorite Rapture pastime, something I like to call Big Daddy trapping. To do this, grab any of the leftover explosives with telekinesis and gently drop them next to the Big Daddy by pressing the reload button. Once you've gathered a decent amount, grab an explosive barrel, stand a reasonable distance away, and then throw it at the pile near the Big Daddy, triggering a massive explosion. This will deal a lot of damage, if not insta-kill the Big Daddy. For those going for the Expert achievement, the Telekinesis Plasmid is very helpful at saving both time and ammo. When it comes to weapons, the crossbow, grenade launcher, and machine gun are the best options, with, you guessed it, the crossbow being the most reliable in terms of damage and ammo consumption. The grenade launcher with frags is also good when fired near any of the explosive barrels. And of course, using proximity mines to set up a trap for the Big Daddy is also nice. Stacking any barrels beforehand will increase the damage of the explosion too. Just don't spend too much of your time setting it up. After you finish everything off with a bang, grab the rewards from the little sister and meet me back at the central hub. Here we go, the final Room of Doom. This room has only 4 enemies, but they are all Big Daddies. There's 2 Bouncers and 2 Rosies, with one of each pair being an elite variant. You can identify these elite versions by their red and white color scheme. The primary threat in this room is the elite Rosie, and as such, everything we buy in preparation will be to take it down. Rosies are notorious for being deadly at both long and short range. If you're too close, they'll smack you into next year, dealing a massive amount of damage. This will also put you in prime position for the Rosie's long-range weapons, such as the rivet gun and proximity mines, as if we didn't have enough to worry about. Because of this, those with access to all your weapons will have a distinct advantage. The crossbow, grenade launcher, shotgun, and machine gun will work wonders if you're quick and focus on one enemy at a time, with the electric buck, armor-piercing rounds, and incendiary bolts being the most effective, while the proximity mines and heat-seeking rockets are great backups. If you're only using the wrench, well, you're in for a world of hurt.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
Seriously though, consider this room a potential run killer. But do not despair, we just have to play smarter to make it through. I highly recommend getting the Enrage Plasmid for this room, and bringing in as many first aid kits and hypos you can, with maybe a little film just in case. If you have any spare Atom, it might be worth buying tonics like Eve Saver, Eve Link, or Medical Expert to help out even more. The room itself is designed in a sort of crosshatch pattern, with the normal bouncer near the entrance, the 2 Rosies pacing around the center, and the elite bouncer by the little sister vent on the far end. The power to the people machine can be found in the opposite corner just to the left of the elite bouncer, next to this water wheel. You can also find a first aid station not too far from here as well, just around the corner. As for the Collectible Rose, it can be found between one of the outside walls and a fallen wooden beam. You can easily find this location by facing your back to the little sister vent and heading straight. Just past the bench on your left will be a fallen beam, and nestled behind it is our 8th and final rose. It's now time to take down the big daddies. For the experts, your best weapons are the crossbow with incendiary bolts, the shotgun with electric buck, the machine gun with armor-piercing rounds, and the grenade launcher with frags, proximity mines, and heat-seeking missiles. The further away you are, the safer you are. Using plasmids like Target Decoy, Insect Swarm, or Enrage will help get some of the heat off your back, and provide you with opportunities to reload. If you're not above using the quickfire exploit, pairing this with a fully upgraded crossbow will make short work of all the big daddies. As for the tough guys, you don't get the luxury of keeping your distance. Your primary source of damage will either be from your wrench, or pitting these enemies against each other using either the enraged plasmid or strategic positioning. The first thing you're going to want to do is research the enemies before engaging. With this being the last room, you should have nearly maxed out most of the research for the bouncer if you've been taking pictures of them throughout this challenge room. Unfortunately for us, this is the first and only time to get points towards researching the Rosie. Taking a single photo will reward you with the +2 damage bonus, which is the best you're going to be able to get. It is possible to get the +3 damage boost, but this will require the research camera exploit. However, it isn't at all necessary to beat this room, so user discretion is advised. Once you've researched the big daddies, you're going to want to use the enraged plasmid on them one by one in an attempt to take down the elite Rosie. Ideally, you'll be using it on the other big daddies first. The reason for this is that when an enemy is attacked by another that is enraged, it will take a couple seconds before they retaliate, allowing the enraged enemy to get a few free hits in, which is the last thing we want to give an extremely powerful elite Rosie. If you don't have the enraged plasmid, or simply can't afford it, you can still do this method, albeit in a much more hazardous way. Just whack any of the big daddies with a wrench and lure them over to the elite Rosie. Then try and position yourself so that they are now hitting said Rosie. It will take a few hits before they begin fighting each other, so keep at it. This method does come at a great risk to your health though, especially with the Rosie variants and their ridiculous accuracy. Regardless of which method you used, after you've successfully gotten these two caught up in a custody battle, start attacking the elite Rosie. A nice mix of the wrench and electrobolt should do the trick. Just be sure to keep an eye out on your current parental guardian's health bar. Once it's close to being depleted, begin searching for another father figure to take their place. Continue playing matchmaker until it's just the two elites duking it out, all the while slowly bringing down the Rosie's health. Eventually, one of these two is going to win the title of World's Greatest Dad, and ideally it should be the elite bouncer, unless you have a hankering for some good old-fashioned discipline. Regardless of which parent you chose to personally take you to school, make your goodbyes quick, grab the lunch your little sister packed for you, and meet me in the office. Unfortunately, we have an after-school project to discuss. With all the rooms completed, it's time to finally rescue the little sister. Or at least, it would be, if it wasn't for one last thing. A surprise 9th room of doom, filled with all types of enemies. Yep, that's right, we have one more room to clear, the central hub itself. There'll be 17 enemies to fight over the course of 6 waves. The first wave will have 3 Thuggish Splicers, the second, 3 Spider Splicers, the third wave, 2 Leadheads, and a Nitro Splicer. The fourth wave will have 3 Houdinis, the fifth wave is composed of 2 Leadheads, each with their own personal security bot, with the 6th and final wave being a good old bouncer class Big Daddy. Whether you're an expert or a tough guy, I recommend using the Telekinesis Plasmid. Once you take down one of the Thuggish Splicers, you can start grabbing and throwing the dead bodies at your enemies. This will one-shot most of them, with the exception of the bouncer. To start this final challenge, just walk up to the glass door in the center of the room, at which point the lights will shut off and the first round will begin. While the lights are off, I advise doing some quick last-minute shopping and restocking on supplies. If the first aid stations are still intact, now would be the perfect time to destroy them to get a permanent 5-finger discount. Not only will you get free first aid kits, it will prevent any of the Splicers from using them during this fight. For the people hoping to become experts, I recommend having at least 2 minutes left on that 15-minute clock before attempting this. If you're quick, you might be able to do this in less time, but 2 minutes gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Like I mentioned, the telekinesis plasmid is one of the faster and more reliable methods. Otherwise, I only have one other piece of advice for you. Give him hell. With this being the true final round, show no mercy, and use everything you have to take down the enemy. Only saving your most powerful ammo for the Big Daddy, which will fittingly spawn in front of the room where our journey began. The room with the single splicer. Nothing wrong with a little foresight, right? To help you save some more precious time, once the room is cleared, the door to the little sister will open. This will take several seconds, but you can shave off a few by jumping up and interacting with the little sister through the opening as the door is coming down. For those hoping to become tough guys, the wrench, electrobolt, and telekinesis plasmid will be your bread and butter up until the last 2 waves. At this point, you'll be given the chance at hacking the 2 security bots. If you want this additional backup for when you go against the Big Daddy, this is your window of opportunity. They can be made easier to reach by taking out the leadhead splicer they're linked to, or by zapping them with the electrobolt. If you didn't get the chance to acquire the auto hack perk by researching them, and don't want to risk hacking them personally, you might be able to buy them out if you have enough money to do so. Keep in mind that this buyout price is tied to the difficulty of whatever it is you're hacking. Purchasing and equipping the Security Expert, Speedy Hacker 2, and Focused Hacker 2 will reduce this buyout price. If you do not see this buyout option, it means you do not have enough money to do so. Now, the security bots aren't needed to take down the bouncer, but they do help keep him distracted. However, their presence does come at a cost. With their additional firepower, it will interrupt the flow of your 1-2 punch, causing you to not deal as much damage to the bouncer yourself. So it's up to you if you want their help. The bouncer can be taken down by yourself with enough time and resources. If you've researched every bouncer throughout this entire challenge room, you will have access to the +2 or even the +3 damage boost. And if for some odd reason you didn't already buy it, the wrench jockey and damage research tonics will help also. The true secret to this is the 1-2 combo of the electrobolt and wrench. Zap them and then whack them. Don't forget, if you zap the Big Daddy and your EVE meter runs out, use a hypo to refill your gauge before hitting the bouncer with your wrench. This will allow you to continue the 1-2 punch without leaving yourself open. With enough persistence and hits from your wrench, the bouncer will go down. Head to the glass door and rescue the little sister to finally put an end to this world of hurt. And with that, we now have all the achievements of the Worlds of Hurt challenge room. That wasn't so bad, right? Anyways, I hope that helped you out, even if just a little. Regardless, if you have the chance, please leave a comment telling me your thoughts about my work.
You're about as useful as a poopy flavored lollipop.
Now, if you watched my previous videos, I'm sure some of you are wondering if I'll show a quick playthrough of me getting all the achievements within a single run, like before. I won't lie, I do feel I'd be breaking tradition if I didn't. But you have to realize that this is at least a 10-minute challenge room, and I doubt any of you want to see that. This video is already long enough as it is. Why not? For old time's sake. If you're not interested, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. For everyone else, here's a quick run-through. All the roses, achievements, and power to the people machines, all earned legitimately. No exploits. Here we go.
Ready?